All right, guys. Hey, thanks for joining me today. Before we get into today's video, let's just do a quick tour of what's going on around the shop. 8640 is done. It's up and running. I literally just have to put the air stack, the sheet metal back on it, and double check lights, little things like that, and then give it a good bath and clean the cab, and it's ready to go. 8650 head job is almost done. It's back to running, and then we found a bad shift cable, park cable, so we'll replace that, see if that fixes that issue. So both of these, with any luck, can get parked outside today. 4030 engine job. Any day we should be getting a call next week, hopefully, for them engine parts to be showing up and an AC system. This is the 4020 that we started the engine on. So kind of had to push everything around to get the 8640 out of its stall. So we'll be spending a lot of time, get these two out today, and then spend the rest of the week and the weekend getting as much done on this 4020 as we can. I'll roll this. The weather's really nice. I'll roll this front end outside and just give it a good old steam cleaning and get him cleaned up nice. That will go good. Just our engine table. A couple of beautiful little H's. They were restored by somebody several years ago, or 5, 6, 7 years ago. Just gorgeous little tractors. And then they sat for sale. Now a guy bought them, and they hadn't been running all them years. So now it's clean the carbs, change fluids, and try and get them running. Dad's 4020. He's fixing it up to sell. It was going to be just let me clean it up kind of deal, but he keeps getting further and further. I'm afraid it's going to end up being a partial renovation or restoration project. He rolled in new bearings, front crank seal, redid the water pump, redid the hydraulic pump. That was on that bench over there, painted up nice. Now he wants to roll this, put your stands here, roll this front axle out. Yeah, just like that 4020, roll your front end out and wash that all off, get that good and steam cleaned. Pull the cab and wants to get everything sandblasted so he can clean it and paint it. Yeah, but it is for sale. It's a late model Syncro with no 3-point. Nothing says I'm a North Dakota tractor like no 3-point. But that was our tractor for the dairy for a lot of hours. And yeah, somebody vandalized our yard with a 1086. It's got PTO problems and some just regular service work and some lights. 3010 needs an overhaul. 2940 for a clutch job, and the 4440 need to diagnose what happened to that engine. Well, there you guys go. There's a quick update to the shop. Hey, I'm going to try and summarize this super quick for you. It's been a whirlwind of emotions and roller coaster rides this winter. Long story short, there was a banking mistake. Our 25 projections looked like they were in the dumpster. So the wife and I had a lot of heart-to-heart conversations of what do we want with the farm? Where do we want to go? What is losing us money? What is holding us back? And we could have gone several routes. We could have gotten rid of the beef, and just black dirted everything, focused on the shop, and just let the co-op spray and fertilize, just a phone-in farmer. But we're like, that is not what we want to do. If we keep with acres, we need to invest in some horsepower so Karen can work with me. And then we also need to borrow money. So we need to borrow money to add some extra horsepower to the farm, but we also need to borrow a lot of money to build a better grain facility to the farm and be able to handle them extra acres, and some other equipment stuff to handle them extra acres. And we're like, we don't want to do that. And so we came to the decision that let's just get rid of 350 rental acres. The fields themselves weren't that bad. It's just that them extra acres with just me and Massey put me over the top of what I could do a good job with. I was just spread way too thin. You guys that have talked to me personally have told me yourselves that I'm spread way too thin. All my old farmer neighbors have said you're just spread too thin. I like my neighbors. I have a lot of great old neighbors that have been there and done that. And for several years, they've said, just let them acres go and focus on your good acres that you got and your highly productive acres and the beef cattle in the shop, and you will be much better off. So this year I'm listening to them. So we don't have to worry anymore about how we're going to come up with money to expand the grain facility. Our little facility will last another decade. We don't have to worry about how we're going to buy more horsepower. We'd still like to add another little chore tractor, but major horsepower and implements, we now no longer have to worry about how we're going to do that. With them 350 acres gone, it will allow us to do a much better job in here. It will allow me to do a much better job with the cattle, and it will allow me to do a much better job on land that is really profitable. So we kept some rental ground because it always made us money. And so in our area, there is no margin of error on our row crop side. And that's the problem with them additional acres. I couldn't cover them fast enough with just me and Massey to do a great job. So now we can get back to taking our fields, and we know that if we take this field, instead of just blowing through it quick to get to the next field, instead of putting $700 in the next acre, let's put a couple hours in this acre, or and save $50, or let's put another $50 into this acre with a couple hours and gain an extra $100 some an acre. We know that works. And so do more with what we got. The beef herd is only growing. In a couple years, we might outgrow 400 acres in a couple years. And that's fine. We always say there's 3 million people right down the road that need to eat. The cattle, you have a lot of revenue streams with the cattle. You have breeding stock to sell. You have feeders that you can sell if the markets are there. You have fats you can sell retail. You have fats you can sell on the open market. You got your hamburger cows on the open market or retail. There's a lot of revenue streams that can come off of that beef herd. And so they're only growing, looking at the math, in 3-4 years, we're going to be at 100 cows. So we got to just keep focusing on that infrastructure, because infrastructure for them cows is land. And instead of borrowing hundreds of thousands of dollars for equipment and grain handling stuff, I'd rather buy land. So by retreating and coming back home and rebuilding, we can actually, start getting projects done. We got a lot of fencing to do. We got tree lines to clean up. We got a barn project to do. We got tons and tons and tons of projects to do. And we might actually be able to get them done this year because we're not just running acres. And so at this point, it's almost like a weight has just been lifted. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, we're really excited. Coming into this 25 crop year, excuse me, I've been fighting a head cold and a chest cold. Oh, and it's just been whooping my butt this last week. You're sore through your neck and your shoulders and your spine. You're just like, oh gosh, I'm pretty jacked like that. And so, yeah, it sounds crazy to give up land, but if I want to be a better farmer, I have to farm less. Like, what kind of nonsense is that? But yeah, that's the path we chose because of what's working on the farm and what's not working on the farm. That made the most sense for us. And like I said, there's land all around us, right up and down this gravel road. There's many, many, many acres all around us. And so it's just a matter of when does it come for sale and when does it come up for rent, kind of deal. And so I'm not worried about adding acres. We will be very successful with the acres we got, and for a good number of years. And we'll just be content with that and go from there. Because at the end of the day, it's about making money. I would still rather, man, if I could rewind time, if I could rewind time, I guess I would still rather just be sitting in a nice 4430 trying to farm a couple hundred acres, um, than chasing debt and chasing down big acres. I don't know. I don't know. As you get older. But yeah, so there you are. That's what we have for 25. We'll talk about what we're going to do on these corn acres because we ain't doing corn and beans anymore. We're going to change up that rotation. Beans will still be in the rotation as a once in a while, but we'll have another exciting video coming up, and hopefully this year we get back into a lot of successful cover crops and stuff like that. And so yeah, all right guys, there you go. It is what it is. It's been done. There you go.